No place like the Cube. Family, it's your favorite queer radio personality, Anna Deshawn, and this is Queer News, your favorite weekly news pod where race and sexuality meet politics, culture, and entertainment.
In order to be successful, in order to get from point A to point B, from dreaming about something to actually walking into your purpose, something has to die. And a lot of times it's ourselves. And so in order for 2 a.m. Ricky to have done all of these firsts and done all these things in these last few years, the human part of me has had to suffer, right?
Now, family, that was 2 a.m. Ricky, the first Black trans male artist to land #1 on any music chart, okay? With his single, What You Own, featuring the CeCe Peniston. He was also a Forbes Black History Maker. He is that guy. And I got to talk with him about his work, his why, and what he has coming up next. The interview will drop on Friday, so please make sure you stay close to the YouTube channel. You already know, E3 Radio. Hit the bell, all the things, okay? Also, family, don't forget the Queer News tip line is open. Send your story ideas, people you think I should highlight. I would love to cover them. I love when you all send me things. I usually have never heard about that place or that person. And that's what this show is all about. Amplifying our stories, period. You already know. If you want to submit something, check the show notes, okay? QCrew. 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 I don't know. I just felt like saying it 3 times. What's going on? Thank you for your continued support of this podcast. Literally, this podcast cannot happen, would not happen without your financial support, your giving. It truly is what makes this podcast keep going. So thank you. Thank you, family. It helps to support our editor, Ryan, okay? And now I'm looking to bring on a couple of video editors. We in this thing. A virtual assistant. This is getting real, okay? So, family, if you're listening to this podcast and you do not give to support, I'd ask if you would consider it, okay? So if you believe in the work we do, if you believe LGBTQ stories need to be amplified, if you love and respect how I report on the news, please consider joining the QCrew, okay? A link, you already know, it's in the show notes. Now for the news. First, we will remember Sam and Tahiry today. 2 Black trans people of color whose lives were taken way too soon, okay? In politics, Lambda Legal has a big win in the fight for gender-affirming care for children, and protests take place in New York City in response to transgender and queer being removed from the Stonewall Monument website. In culture and entertainment, we have a special report from Darian, our GLAAD contributor, okay, who covers the U.S. South. He's going to tell us about an upcoming conference called Men Having Babies. I had never heard about it, and I didn't know if you had. And if not, you won't. We're going to learn today, okay? Thank you, Darian. So let's get into it. Family, our top stories today are tragic, truly. And this is my warning. If this is not something you want to hear, please, there's time codes in the show notes. Skip to the next story, but just know we will be remembering Sam and Tahiry today. We must speak their names. That's what this is about. We must speak their names. Sam, we speak your name today. Tahiry, we speak your name today. Sam, a 24-year-old trans man from Minnesota, who thought he found love online with a woman named Precious. So he went to New York to meet her, but never made it back home. I watched a heartbreaking video of Sam's family describing their experience of trying to get Sam to come back home, trying to get in contact with Sam for months. Finally, the family requested a welfare check. And this is when the police found him dead in a field in Yates County, New York. Now, this is about 50 miles south of Rochester, New York. And I lived in upstate. It's one of the most affirming LGBTQ places on the planet. And so when I saw this, it just really blew my mind. As reported by NBC News Out at a press conference, Captain Kelly Swift said, "Our investigation has revealed a deeply disturbing pattern of abuse that ultimately resulted in Sam's tragic death." She went on to say that Sam experienced prolonged physical and psychological abuse at the hands of multiple individuals, and that Sam was subjected to repeated acts of violence and torture that ultimately led to his death. She said it was, quote, "one of the most horrific crimes she has ever investigated in her 20 years in law enforcement." Sam didn't deserve this, y'all. Family, Sam did not deserve this. Right now, police aren't sharing any details, giving it's an ongoing investigation, right? So, what are the things we do know? We know 5 people are in custody for Sam's murder. They are all charged with second-degree murder with depraved indifference. Now, if you are like me and you don't know what depraved indifference means, I had to look it up too. It is a legal term that describes a complete disregard for human life. It can also refer to a willingness to act without regard for consequences. This was added because of the awful torture it appears Sam endured. All 5 suspects are being held without bail. His family has started a GoFundMe, okay, to help with their expenses to get Sam home. If you want to give, a link is in the show notes. Tahiry, a 29-year-old Black trans woman from Detroit, was found murdered in an apartment parking lot in Southfield, Michigan. I first saw this reported in Blackout magazine, and I haven't seen it reported in many other outlets at all. Truly. And I assume that's because Tahiry was participating in sex work. But let me be very clear and let me say it with my full chest, okay? Sex work is work. Sex is a business, and a very lucrative business. You understand? And in a country that continues to dehumanize my trans siblings and actively making life nearly impossible for them, okay, the sex economy is how they are surviving, period. But let me get back to the story and off my soapbox, but I hope you heard that from my full chest, okay? Sex work is work. Now, the police are reporting that Tahiry responded to an inquiry to a commercial sex worker ad, okay? It was a commercial advertisement. And after meeting with the John, it's reported that they got into some type of argument in this parking lot. And the John shot her once in the head. Now, they have apprehended 28-year-old Robert Ridges III and found him just hours after the murder in a casino. A casino. The police are reporting that he called 33 different sex workers that night. Black cis women, Black trans women. It just really looks like he was hunting for sex workers. He's been charged with second-degree murder, carrying a concealed weapon, and felony firearm. In an interview with WXYZ Detroit, Tahiry's aunt said this. She said Tahiry was funny, smart, like one of those people that can walk into the darkest room and find some light in it. Let me tell y'all something, family. My heart goes out to her family and to those who loved her the most. And what I find when I report on these stories is that the people that lose their lives are some of the most beautiful people on the planet, some of the most warm and funny and life-giving people the world has to offer. And their lives are taken way too soon. But Tahiry's family has also set up a GoFundMe to cover some of her homegoing expenses. And so if you want to give, okay, the link is also in the show notes. All right, family, in politics, can we get some good news, please? Okay, Lambda Legal, the ACLU, the ACLU of Maryland, and law firms Jenner and Block and Hogan Lovells and PFLAG, y'all, it'd be a group effort, okay? Secured a major win for Gender-Affirming Care. A federal judge has blocked Voldemort's, executive order not to fund, support, promote, assist, or support gender transition for people under 19, which is wild to me because people are adults at the age of 18 in most states, but this administration, okay, and I digress. This blockage is happening via a temporary restraining order, okay? And this restraining order blocks the enforcement of this said executive order across the country for people under the age of 19. Now, this is a major win, because shortly after Voldemort signed this executive order, hospitals stopped providing gender-affirming care, like almost immediately. They canceled appointments and withheld treatments. This happened in Massachusetts, it happened in Maryland, it happened in Colorado, it happened in Virginia, and I'm sure it happened in other states that are just not reporting it. Omar Gonzalez-Pagan, Lambda Legal's senior counsel and healthcare strategist, said this: as today's decision makes clear, the president does not have the power to unilaterally condition federal funding by requiring discrimination. To the contrary, our laws and constitution forbid it. We hope that with today's decision, healthcare entities can go back to caring for their patients instead of abandoning them over fears of losing, admittedly, critical federal funding. This is a big win, and we've got to celebrate the wins as they come, family, because honestly, we just never know when we're going to see another one. So big ups to everybody who participated in this lawsuit, to those who are willing to put their name on the roll for this lawsuit, because all of this is dangerous, because Voldemort is dangerous, period.
Love. Fucking love. Love for community, love for each other, love for all the folks who are not here. I work at the National LGBTQ Task Force. We were founded in 1973 in the wake of the Stonewall uprising right here in New York City. And we will not stop fighting for all of us. I'm here as an ally, and I'm not speaking to any of the folks here. I'm speaking to all the folks who are out there who are queer and those who are not. Now is the time to stand up for our trans and non-binary and genderqueer siblings. We need to put ourselves on the line. Now! We are angry, and there's a lot of horrible stuff happening, but the reality is that this is an opportunity for the 1% part of our community that folks don't know to get to know the amazing, beautiful, fabulous, fierce trans and non-binary people.
Family, that was the voice of Katharina, one of my friends and homies, and she also happens to be the Director of Communications at the LGBTQ National Task Force. She was speaking at a rally that took place outside of the Stonewall Inn at the Stonewall National Monument in New York City. When I was in New York City, I had the opportunity to actually go there with Kathy, okay? It's a special place. This rally was organized and put together in less than 12 hours, and 1,000 people gathered to raise their voice together against the National Park Service removing the words transgender and queer from their website. This is, of course, being done in response to one of Voldemort's other executive orders that say that the U.S. only recognizes two genders. So across federal websites, you won't see T or Q. You will see LGB. And this is all in an attempt to continue to erase our siblings from public life. Now, we all know that Stonewall is truly the moment, okay? It's a linchpin in the modern LGBTQ rights movement, and it just wouldn't have happened without trans women. Period. Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, okay? Stormy. I mean, none of this, Miss Major, none of this work happens without trans women of color. And I also want to speak the fact that there are names we will never know. In a joint statement, the Stonewall Inn and the Stonewall Inn Gives Back initiative said this blatant act of erasure not only distorts the truth of our history, but it also dishonors the immense contributions of transgender individuals, especially transgender women of color, who were at the forefront of the Stonewall riots and the broader fight for LGBTQ plus rights. And I just want to say this out loud, okay? And I hope we all know this. I hope we're all aware, okay? The federal government, okay, Voldemort's administration is going to keep going. This is going to be the fight, okay? For as long as they can. And so it is our job to keep going and to doing our work for as long as we possibly can. We cannot stop telling our stories. We cannot stop speaking the truth. We can't stop fighting. This is no time to be tired, okay? We got no time for that. It's time to get to work. Okay, family, we're going to end this political segment with some good news, okay? In Worcester, I'm telling you all, that's not how it's spelled, but that is how it is pronounced. In Worcester City, located in Massachusetts, they voted 9-2 to be a trans sanctuary city. So if you live close to Massachusetts, if you're looking for somewhere to go, maybe somewhere to move, maybe this is a new city for you. Worcester is the second largest city in Massachusetts, so it's no small town, okay? And here's some more cities actually declaring themselves safe and brave spaces for our trans siblings. So far, Sacramento, California, and Ithaca, New York have made these declarations. Now, I told y'all the vote was 9-2. The two people who voted against the measure said this: there are no new rights that this resolution gives that don't already exist. However, there's a potential for federal dollars to be taken away from the city of Worcester. And this is real. Like, this is the fear that Voldemort's administration will fight back by withholding federal dollars from cities, from governments, from states, if they choose to go against his wishes. I think if you haven't heard about what's happening in New York with the mayor, Eric Adams, right? His charge is being dropped if he enforces, right, their desire to remove people from this country. So they drop charges, he complies. This is what's happening right now. So I think the people that voted no, their fears are accurate. This city could very well lose federal dollars because of standing up for what's right. And from where I sit, ain't nothing right about that. So family, if you're anywhere near Worcester, Massachusetts, yo, tell them thank you, okay? Because they didn't have to do it, but they did. Now, I think it is well past time for us to take a quick break. And when we get back, let's get into culture and entertainment. Family, I want you all to take a minute and visit e3radio.fm. That's our official website. And I want you all to visit because our Director of Community Partnerships, Carter Cavazos, has written his first blog. And it is about our trip to Las Vegas for the Creating Change Conference. He talks about what the conference means to him, but also what we can be doing right now to sustain. He uses the word resiliency, which he admits he doesn't even like, but it encompasses what needs to happen right now. He gives us 3 tips, and I'm not going to give them to you. You got to read the blog. He also talks about our adventures in Las Vegas, the food, the shows, the food. Thank you, Visit Las Vegas, for such an amazing experience that we had. He shares pictures of our time together with also our fellow journalists who are covering queer culture and queer news across the country. It was an unbelievable, unforgettable time. Truly, thank you, Task Force. Thank you, Creating Change. Thank you, Visit Las Vegas, for the experience. And you got to read Carter's blog to really hear all about it. Family, we have a sponsor for our February episodes, the Church Within a Church movement. This movement exists to combat the religious harm inflicted upon LGBTQ folks by the church. I joined them a couple decades ago, which is hard to believe, and I found them to be a beacon of light in some of the darkest places. With courage, integrity, and care, their purpose is to live justice through their work. And one way they do this is by welcoming LGBTQ clergy who have left or been kicked out of their denominations because of who they are and because of who they love. This year, they are ordaining 3 LGBTQ folks, and I'm so glad to know them and to know their work and how they care for others. So thank you, Church Within a Church, for your support of this work and your work in the world. And family, I look forward to telling you more about the Church Within a Church movement throughout Black History Month. If you want to learn more, visit cwac.us. That's cwac.us. Family, welcome back to the show. Now for culture and entertainment. Last year, I welcomed contributors to the show, and I'm going to keep that going this year as well. First up is Darian Aaron. Darian is a friend, okay? Just a good person. He's also a journalist, an award-winning journalist, let's be clear, and director of local news US South for GLAAD. And he's coming to us with a story about an upcoming conference that supports gay men who are looking to have children. Darian, take it away.
Family, this is Darian Aaron, coming at you with a unique story out of the city of Atlanta. Men Having Babies will kick off its 3-day conference at the W Hotel on February 21st in downtown Atlanta. Among the hundreds of gay dads and prospective dads will be 32-year-old Bianco Gardner, a single Black gay dad to 5-month-old daughter Bianca. Gardner shared his journey to fatherhood with me in a story published on GLAAD.org this week, where he detailed his daughter's birth via surrogate, the research it entailed along with the legalities involved, and the price tag attached to surrogacy. Gardner's story and presence at the conference is happening at a time when interest in family planning, for gay singles in particular, appears to be on an upswing. The Atlanta conference alone is experiencing a 30% increase in attendance among single gay men. That's according to internal data I received from a Men Having Babies spokesperson. Choosing a traditional surrogacy, Gardner had no shortage of Black women in his life supporting his desire to become a dad, with his surrogate ultimately being a cousin of his best friend of 20 years. Now, I also spoke with Ron Dijon, event and data content manager at Men Having Babies, and the father of a 10-month-old son with his husband via surrogate. Dijon says, and I quote, "What's great about the upcoming Atlanta conference is that Men Having Babies conferences are not about selling surrogacy. It's about the steps it takes to go through a surrogacy process. Is this right for you? It's all educational. And here are the providers you can talk to figure out who you vibe with and how you can save money." Gardner acknowledged that when it comes to the costs associated with surrogacy, the prices can be astronomical. But he urges prospective dads to not let it deter you from realizing your dream of becoming a parent. Now, I'm a newlywed, and my husband and I discussed having children before we were married and determined it was not a path we wanted to take. However, since news broke of this conference happening in Atlanta, I have seen my fair share of single Black queer men online who are eager to become dads, but have no idea how to start the process. If that's you, I encourage you to read the full story and to learn more about surrogacy and how you can register for one of 7 Men Having Babies conferences in the U.S. and abroad by visiting GLAAD.org.
Thank you, Darian. And family, please share this information. That's what this podcast is all about. Don't keep the news to yourself, okay? Family and entertainment. Have you seen K1's new music video featuring Kehlani? Do you even know who K1 is? It's okay. Yeah, me either. I didn't know until Gay Magazine reported about it on their IG, okay? And it's for her song called Worst Behavior. And it's exactly what you think it is, okay? And I want to read some of the lyrics because I think it is worth it. I think it is worth reading some of these lyrics, okay? Need you on your worst behavior. Oh, girl, when we up in this bed, I don't know what they call it where you from, but it ain't called sex. This shit's some love spread out on satin. All these stains we left from where our bodies have been. Need you on your worst behavior. Y'all, this video is as hot as these lyrics. Do you understand Basically, the two of them are in this really big open room, this big open loft with this car sort of in the middle. And there's a woman on the other side swinging, basically naked. Okay. And this whole video, they're admiring each other, singing to each other, flirting with each other. And then they connect. Okay. At the end, only for them to connect, gather in this tight embrace, okay? And this sensual kiss, chillated kiss. Ooh, it's hot, okay? Had your girl tingling a little bit, okay? And we all know Kehlani is not shy about displaying her sexuality, period. And K1 seem to be on it, okay? So this one is definitely worth a watch. And if you don't know how to find it, and if you don't know how to spell K1, because you won't, okay, because it's KWN, I'll put a link to the video in the show notes, and you can just thank me later. Okay, respond to the newsletter and just say, thank you, Anna. And I know what you're talking about. Now, for our last story in culture and entertainment, you know I got to give y'all the latest on Unrivaled. Y'all know I am a fan, and I hope y'all are watching. Are you watching? I hope you're watching. This past week was the first one-on-one tournament of any professional sport that I have ever seen, okay? And it was lit. The competition was fierce. Nafisa Collier came out on top, and the internet went wild. I have never seen so much hate around one person winning fair and square, but I digress. People had lots of opinions because she's a co-founder, but I want to remind people, okay? Everybody in that league is a part owner. Okay, that was one of the benefits of jumping on in this first year. So I just want people to simmer down a little bit about that, okay? Simmer down. She won 200 stacks fair and square. She won cash for her team, and the semifinalists won cash too. But I do want to hear what you got to say. What did you all think about the one-on-one tournament on Unrivaled? I thought it was fantastic, but I want to hear what you think, okay? Because I can't see the NBA ever doing it, because some of the best players in NBA would get routed in one-on-one, period. Also, I want to say this, please keep watching Unrivaled, okay? They need the ratings, and we need this. Family, you know it's that time of the show for Anna's Got a Word, because Anna's always got a word. And this week, on February 18th, is the mother herself, Audre Lorde's birthday. And so it felt only right to end this podcast with a word from Audre Lorde herself, one of her famous quotes that I absolutely live by. She says, "My silences had not protected me. Your silence will not protect you. But for every real word spoken, for every attempt I had ever made to speak those truths for which I am still seeking, I had made contact with other women while we examined the words to fit a world in which we all believe, bridging our differences." Family, today I just want to remind you that your silence won't protect you. Hiding won't protect you. So you might as well speak. And if we remember Zora Neale Hurston's quote from last week's episode, if you are silent, they will think you enjoyed it. Don't let them think you enjoyed it, okay, family? Don't be silent. Don't be a bystander. Be active in this fight. Show up however you can. Time, talent, treasure. We've all got one of the three at any given time. And this is the time to tap into it, okay? Past time, actually. But if you're a little slow to the game, I understand. No judgment here. We listen and we do not judge. But I do want you all to figure out how you can use your voice, how you can use your talent, how you can use your time, and how you can use your treasure right now, because we need it. We all we got. Till next week. Peace. If you've enjoyed what you heard, rate and review us inside your favorite podcasting app. This podcast is written and produced by me, Anna Deshawn. Podcast editing by Ryan Woodhall. And brought to you by E3 Radio and distributed on The Cube. We are Queer News Done Right.